The state budget is due tomorrow, April 1st, though it's looking like, barring a miracle, that's not going to happen, not going to meet the deadline. But when it does, a statewide cell phone ban is all but certain for schools. That's going to be part of the package. Joining us now, Melinda Person, who is the president of NYSA, New York State United Teachers. Melinda, always great to catch up with you. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we certainly have to wait to see the specifics, but it certainly looks like, from what I'm hearing, I'm not sure what you're hearing, that the governor's going to get her plan basically passed without much change, including that bell-to-bell ban. Your teachers union has always been behind this all along, especially the bell-to-bell. Why is that better than, say, limits during the day, which I think some schools are using already?
Yes, and I would say what we've heard from our members and parents and principals, superintendents across the state is that the current status quo isn't really working. And so we have strongly been out in favor of bell-to-bell cell phone policies, which means that kids have to have their phones away for the whole school day, because we think it's important that kids have distraction-free learning environments. And that's not just during the 50 minutes of class time. It also means, in the time in the hallway, the time in the lunchroom, time during study hall, that kids have the ability to focus on what they're there to do, which is to learn. Mm-hmm. And the time in the hallway and the time in the lunchroom is really important time for kids to develop social skills and the ability to be with their peers and with their teachers and other adults in the school building. This is critical learning time too. So the bell-to-bell policy is something that we feel very strongly about in terms of protecting this learning environment, but also protecting our students' mental health.
You have certainly been part of or hosted a number of conferences around the state over the past few months. Who was there and kind of what was the general consensus you were getting? I think you kind of touched on it a little bit there, but if you want to go a tiny bit deeper on these.
Sure. At these conferences, we've had parents, we've had school administrators, we've had students and high school students as well, which probably are the folks who have reacted with the most concern about what is this going to mean? How am I going to, how am I going to stay in contact with the people I need to stay in contact with? And I think it's been a learning experience for all of those involved at the conference. When folks hear about the impact of social media on our students, our children's mental health, they say, okay, we got to do something about this. And then when they hear about the fact that, well, parents will still be able to reach their children during the school day because we're going to set up procedures for going down to the office or for parents to call the office so that they can make sure that they can always communicate with their kids. And then last but not least, at all of our conferences, we've had law enforcement come and talk about the very real safety concerns that many parents have expressed. And every conference, the law enforcement have come forward and say, your kids are less safe with a phone at school. And that has really been a game changer in our conversations with parents. When they learn that they can keep their kids safe without that phone, that's what they're in support of.
Melinda, I'm very curious what your teachers and how they're feeling about potentially having to be the police on these issues, because they're the ones that are going to come in contact with the kids on probably more frequently than anybody else in a building.
Well, anyone who deals with kids, students, knows that kids thrive with clear expectations. And what we have right now is unclear expectations. Kids are not really sure going from classroom to classroom, what are the rules, when they can and cannot use their phone. And what this state law is going to do is say, hey, districts, you need to come up with a district-wide or building-wide policy that everybody's going to have a role in enforcing. And those clear expectations we believe are going to lead to outcomes where everyone understands the rules and then they follow them.
Same, and I got about 30, 45 seconds left. Same goes for the adults in the schools too, leading by example?
Of course, of course. Just like we expect parents to lead by example at home, our educators and the people in school buildings lead by example as well.
Beautiful. Belinda, really appreciate it. You know, we'll certainly obviously wait to see what the exact specifics are on it, but we have a pretty good idea, and certainly something's coming. We can always have you back when we know the specifics of it and how the implementation is going to go here, because that'll be a bit of a process too. Always great catching up with you. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Talk soon.